الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه ومن سار على سبيله إلى يوم الدين أما بعد. So continuing our explanation of the book Bulugu Maraam and discussing the bab of Sifatul Salat regarding the Prophet Islam description of how he prayed. So in the last lesson that we discussed some of the Ahadeeth that was mentioned regarding as-Salat. We discussed regarding that how the hands or the fingers is to be placed in ruku and in sujood, and also the person in sujood, how the person position themselves, and more so where the hands should be. Then we discussed also regarding that Islam sometimes you sit in the salat, even though that hadith is under discussion, but is a dalil regarding that if a person chooses to sit, then they should prefer for them to sit in such a position, especially those who are ill and the likes. Then we went on to discuss concerning the hadith concerning what is to be said bayna sajdatain, or between while the person is sitting in between the sajda regarding that particular supplication. That we discussed that there's some also discussion regarding the hadith itself, regarding some aspect of the hadith. So regarding Al-Umma Al-Firli, that part is authentic, or some narration mentioned concerning Rabbi Firli. So they mentioned that then after then whatever is additional to this, there's some discussion regarding its authenticity. So based upon this, that Imam At-Tirmidhi rahimahullah, he mentioned, when he mentions hadith, وَبِهِ يَقُول, meaning concerning the person saying between sajdatayni, Rabbi Firli, he mentioned وَبِهِ يَقُول Ashafi وَأحمد وَالْإِسْحَاقِ, meaning some of the ulama who believe that this is the supplication to be said. Then he mentioned يَرَوْنَ هَذَا جَاهِزْ فِي مَكْتُوبَ وَالْتَطَوَّى, that this supplication is to be said whether in the compulsory salat or the non-compulsory salat. Then also Sahib al-Mughni. When we say Sahib al-Mughni, who do we mean? Sahib al-Mughni. Mughni is a book in fiqh. Who's the author? So when a person said Sahib al-Mughni, Sahib Bulugu al-Maraam, meaning the author of that book. So who's the author of Mughni? Who's Sahib al-Mughni? That book Mughni. Who's the author? Anyone?
Imam Ahmad.
La. In books of fiqh, Imam Ahmad didn't write a book. Ahmad rahimahullah didn't per se write a book, write books in hadith, but not per se in fiqh. But Mughni in general, that's one of the book of the Hanabila. So the ulama of the Hanabila, Ibn Qudama, that he has a book called Al-Mughni, which Ibn Qudama rahimahullah, the ulama, that he have books that write on different levels or degree. So for beginner's book, intermediary, advanced, and the highest level. So the higher level would be the book of Al-Mughni. Now where in the sense of highest level, he mentioned in every masala the aqwal of the ulama from the Sahaba and others, and also he would like somewhat critique their views and also give you the adillah. So it goes into volume over 15 volumes. But some ulama like Al-Zahabi mentioned that Kutub al-Islam regarding fiqh, before a person give fatwa and the likes, that a person has to study Mughni, this book Al-Mughni, Tamheed, the Ibn Abdul Bar, As-Sunan al-Kabir, Lil-Bayhaqi, and Muhalla, Ibn Hazm. So those 4 books, before you are qualified to give fatwa, you have to somewhat master the 4 books. And all those books come in volumes. They come in many volumes. But overall, Mughni are those important books regarding al-fiqh, one of the important books in fiqh. So Sahib al-Mughni, he mentioned Ibn Qudama, mustahab inda Abi Abdullah min Ahmad bin Hanbal an yaqul bayna sajdatain, that what is preferred to be said between meaning Ahmad bin Hanbal rahimahullah, he mentioned Abi Abdullah bayna sajdatain, between the 2 sajda, Rabbi Firli yakarrar dhalik miraran. He mentioned the person saying Rabbi Firli, and he can repeat this as often as possible. Wajib minhu marra, and what is compulsory, the amount of time it is compulsory to be said is once. So it's compulsory to say it once, right? وَأَدْنَى كَمَالْ ثَلَاثَةً, and the more ideal, the least of what is most ideal to be said is 3 times, but you can exceed this. So once is compulsory, right, to say Rabbi Firli. Nam, to repeat this more than this is preferred, But the least, that is the least preferred to be done is 3 times. So that's concerning that particular mas'ala. Then Ibn Rajab rahimahullah, regarding this particular regarding what is to be said in between Sajdataini, in his book also that is called Fathul Bari. Ibn Rajab has a book also called Fathul Bari. There's another person in the book called Fathul Bari who's famous. Who is it? Another Fathul Bari by another author that is well famous. Fath al-Bari. The author of the same book. The author of this book. Who's the author of this book? La, author of this book that we're studying. Bulugu Maraam. Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani. So Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani has a book. He has many books in hadith, as we discussed when we started out. So his famous one, and he has certain famous books. So you have this one being one, Bulugu Maraam. Then you have others of what is well famous, that's even called Kutub al-Islam by some of the ulama, regarding his explanation of Sahih Bukhari. So you have the explanation of Sahih Bukhari, and it's referred to as, or it is named, Fathul Bari. But you have another explanation of Sahih Bukhari that's also called Fathul Bari. So you have 2 explanations of Sahih Bukhari, both are referred to or called Fathul Bari. One by Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani, that's the more famous one and is complete. And the second is by Ibn Rajab al-Hanbali. Ibn Rajab al-Hanbali. And is a more detailed than the other Fathul Bari, but was incomplete. Or what I've read yesterday, you didn't complete, what is not complete. But if it was the complete, then it would be a much more detailed explanation than the other Fathul Bari. So he mentioned, Ibn Hajar rahimahullah, he mentioned concerning هذا matter concerning that, what is to be said between the sajdataini. Then he mentioned that وحكى عن أبو حنيفة. So what also been narrated or mentioned and Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah, أنه ليس بين السجدتين ذكر مشروع بكل. That there is no, so Imam Abu Hanifa is a narration on Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah, that there is no specific supplication to be said between the sajdataini. Even though there's some hadith that already was said, some of those hadiths are on the discussion, but you have the one we mentioned, Rabbik Fili, that one is in Abu Dawood and other hadith, Hasan al-Sahih. But there's authentic hadith relating to this, but Abu Hanifa rahimahullah, that still, maybe these hadith haven't reached him, that there's no specific supplication to be said in between the sajdataini. Just concerning and some of his companions, وَبَعْدْ أَصْحَابِ, and some of his companions, أَنَّهُ يُصَبَّ فِي, that a person can thus make any supplication in between. So without specifying anything, some of the companions Abu Hanifa mentioned, something can be said without specifying what is to be said. So that's concerning the conclusion regarding that particular matter. So according to the Hanabila, it is wajib for the person to say Rabbik Fili at least once, to say it the least preferred is to say it 3 times, but you're allowed to exceed it as long as in that position with the Imam. So that's concerning that particular matter. So now we'll go to the hadith that...
Tell me the additional wording after Rabbik Firli, is it...
there's some discussion, remember?
There's some discussion.
There's some discussion. Some ulama authenticated and some that is not authentic.
So should we act upon that?
Answer that. As I said, if you all concerning Sheikh Albani and many, all even higher, that all it is authentic. So a person who is not a specialist in hadith, but understand that is a different, but can somewhat apply it, and there's no harm. If you're following one imam that is a specialist in this field. So it seems as it has some basis, but some of the narrations are weak. So then we go to the hadith that so we mentioned concerning the hadith that general meaning concerning Mendoz. So you have general the initial hadith mentioned by Ibn Abbas we mentioned Al-Humma Akfirli. So after this in I mentioned certain things in this application. So it's to ponder over the things that are mentioned in this application so we can somewhat understand what we're saying. Rabbik Firli, which is the person is asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive us of our sins. So he's asking for forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala regarding our sins and also our shortcomings. Regarding acts of obedience to Allah, being obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then the next thing they mentioned, warhamni, is a person seeking from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to have his mercy, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can have mercy upon him. And regarding concerning a person is trying to seek of the good from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this dunya and in the akhirah by having Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's mercy. Then regarding Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bestowing upon him things of goodness and things that are beneficial, and of those things which are the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that we ask Allah for mercy regarding entering Al-Jannah and protection from An-Nar. Then I mentioned wahdini, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked me for, which is asking for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide us. Wahdini is for asking for guidance, and is the guidance in the sense of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, guide me towards good and those things that are beneficial and those things that will keep me steadfast upon my deen. So I mentioned Allahumma wahdini, I seek of your guidance for Allah, oh Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then a person asking, guide me to good and those things that are beneficial, and to keep me upright and steadfast on being steadfast upon my religion, and also so that's concerning that particular, and also to be consistent upon my faith and my religion. And also mention wa talaba al-mazid min al-hidayah, and also it will include seeking of increase regarding an increase in the guidance of Islam. Now, wa'afini, you mentioned concerning al-afiyah, seeking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as-salama min jami' al-afat, where the person is asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, protect me from any form of deficiency or and the likes, and any form of falling into shortcomings and things regarding illnesses, what are those things which is relates to one's heart or to one's limbs. So seeking to be preserved from any form of illnesses and the likes. Then also mention was only regarding to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant me sustenance, which is another a risk, is those things which is beneficial. It could be al-ilm, it could be actions which is righteous. So our risk is seeking knowledge, righteous knowledge, beneficial knowledge. Risk also include regarding amal salih, doing righteous deeds. Also risk regarding sustenance which is halal. Sustenance which is halal. And also includes concerning our risk, the person place of dwelling is from halal, and a place which is also comfortable. And also our risk, also the person libas, which is halal, and cover the person's body. So that's the meaning of those wording in that particular hadith. Now we'll go to the hadith that follows, with the hadith of Malik ibn Huwayrith. Aywa.
Narrated Malik ibn Huwayrith radiallahu anh, he saw the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam praying, and when he had prayed an odd number of Raka'a, he did not stand up till he had sat up properly. Reported by Al-Bukhari.
So Imam Ibn Hajar rahimahullah, he mentioned concerning this particular matter regarding another matter regarding of the acts of salat, and the hadith of Malik ibn Huwayrith radiyallahu anhu, أنه رأى النبي عليه السلام يصلي فإذا كان في وتر من صلاته لم يضحد حتى يستوي قائدا. رواه البخاري. So this hadith, as mentioned, is narrated by Imam Bukhari rahimahullah, and also others such as At-Tirmidhi wa Nasa'i from Kutub al-Sitta. For A'immat al-Kutub al-Sitta, and this hadith is discussed, or this hadith is used as a proof for those who hold that this hadith is a proof regarding the matter relating to Jalsat al-Istiraha. Jalsa al-Istiraha. So the hadith, what it means concerning the Prophet, that what Malik ibn Huwayrith anhu, that he observed the Prophet Islam, that while he was praying, that in the Raka'a, and it means concerning in the Raka'a, where either the first or the third Raka'a, that before he goes straight up, he would pause a little, then go up. So you can somewhat sit, not go, leave from a sujood and go straight up, but he will pause, then go up to the standing position. As I mentioned, فَإِذَا كَانَ فِي وِتْرٍ, witr meaning the odd Raka'a, min salatihi, in his salat. Then he mentioned لَمْ يَضْحَدْ حَتَّى يَسْتَوِي قَائِدًا, he wouldn't go up until he sat a little. So this is the hadith that is used by the ulama regarding the matter relating to Al-Jalsa al-Istiraha. Jalsatul Istiraha. Is this something permitted, or is something of the act of the sunnah act of salat or not? So in this discussion, it's one is a dalil that is used regarding this sajda, which is not sajda, this jalsa istiraha. That is it something that all that it proof is a proof that this jalsa istiraha is something which is of the sunnah. As this companion that he saw the Prophet do it, so they all that this is something which is of the acts of the sunnah act of salat. It's a sunnah act of salat. And that's the view that is taken, that jalsa al-istiraha. So the person, for example, in the first rak'ah, now he needs to go up, right? So does the person sit and pause a little, or the person go straight up? With me? So that's the matter that is being discussed. Is this from the sunnah of the salat or not? Based upon this hadith, what is famous on Imam Shafi rahimahullah, and a narration Imam Ahmed, that this is a act of the sunnah, that this is something from the sunnah to be done. And they use this hadith as the dalil. And Imam Bukhari rahimahullah, Imam Bukhari, he mentioned in this hadith, when he mentioned the hadith, he mentioned babun min man istiwa وَمَنْ إِسْتَوَى قَائِدًا فِي وِتْرٍ مِنَ الصَّلَاةِ. So Imam Bukhari mentioned that this hadith, when he mentions hadith concerning, he mentions a bab regarding the one who sits in the witr, in the salat, before he to sit in the salat, in the witr salat. So Imam Bukhari can somewhat use it as a proof, so can somewhat indicate, is an indication that Imam Bukhari is of that view, that the person should sit before he goes up and not go straight up immediately. And also a group of the ulama of hadith also is of that view. So if Imam Shafi and narration Imam Ahmed seem to be a view of Imam Bukhari, possibly a view of Imam Bukhari, and also a group of, and also from the ulama of hadith, that all that jalsa al-istiraha is from the sunnah of the salat, the sunnah of the salat, based upon this hadith. The second view on this matter, that jalsa al-istiraha laysa sunnah min sunnah al-salat, is not from the sunnah act of the salat.
You said that?
This is the next view. We mentioned those, but the second view, that it is not from the sunnah act of the salat. Meaning the person has to be discussed. And it's not something which is mustahab, to be done either.
The ones that say it should be done, is that in every obligatory prayer?
And nawafil.
Okay.
So every time a person in the first rak'ah, before he comes up, he should sit. And I mentioned it's mustahab to be done. Because this hadith indicates that the Prophet is seen doing it, so they prove that there's something to be done. But the other view, that is the view of the Abu Hanifa, and another view of Imam Ahmed, and others, they say qawl of Umar, Ali ibn Mas'ud ibn Abbas, that it is not from the sunnah act, it's not from the act of salat. It's not from the act of salat. And they said that the deal for this, they approve, you want the names again?
Yeah.
Of the Sahaba they mention, Umar ibn Khattab, Ali ibn Abi Talib, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, or Ibn Abbas, that they are of the view that it is not from the acts of the salat.
What is the duration on this pause? Is it just a few seconds or?
Just a few seconds. There's a few seconds type of pause, right? And it's a few seconds type of thing.
And just to double check, this is on the nawafil prayer, not the...
This is a compulsory and nawafil. This applies to any salat. So it applies to any of the salawat, whether compulsory or non-compulsory.
But I thought generally in the salah you meant to you rest in between each movement anyway.
Nazif, this Jalsa al-Istiraha, so that's a discussion. Is it or is it not?
But I thought in normal salah you meant to each position you should rest a bit, let your bones settle.
Okay.
Move anyway.
So as we're discussing that, they can somewhat those who hold that. So Prophet did that instead concern the bone settling back. But in this case, you have mentioned most narration doesn't mention in this particular position this sitting or resting back. You with me? So most narration doesn't mention that you will do this.
You said a few seconds, but in the footnotes here it says longer than that.
No, there's a few. It's a short. What is it? resting or sitting.
For such a long time, the people began to think that it was
Maybe there's a different one
forgetfulness.
in the book.
Okay.
Maybe there's a different one that they're discussing. So this one, for example,
The footnote.
Yeah.
so I'm not sure, I haven't read a footnote to see what they say.
Yeah.
So for example, you're in the first Raka'a. So you have gone down you're in sujood. Now this is your second sajda.
Yeah.
Then you're going to come up now to go to your second Raka'a. Then you pause a little, it's not a long pause. So I'm not sure if what's intended in the book is a short pause. And it may vary one person to another. And the Imam. But we said normally you go behind the Imam. So that in this position, then you come up. Then you come up.
That's kind of sharpish though.
Hey, so I said, for some people it may be sharp.
Some people just come up straight away.
Yes, so I said, you down, you come up.
Yeah. 1, 2, no, no, no.
Yes, and so it's a few seconds.
No, okay, I read
Yes,
that.
and so that's one. That's the view. So the pause, my few seconds, is of the view in line with those who say it is mustahab, a part of the salat. With me?
Oh.
Then the second view now would be now, if you're down here, they would. That's something because
Yeah,
they would just go straight up.
No.
They'll go straight up.
That's another view, yeah?
Yeah, they go straight up.
Yeah.
You understand? So that's the second view.
Okay.
They go straight up without
The rest of the body.
the resting of the body. Now, based upon, they'll mention to know that most hadiths that mention this, the Prophet's discussion doesn't mention him resting.
Oh, okay.
You understand? So for not most, kind of somewhat didn't mention that resting at that point. Is and they said hadiths, for example, of these that mention that he rested, that they kind of somewhat mention that when he got a little bit either for a reason why he sometimes may have paused a little and didn't go straight up. But most of the narration for them is that it's not mentioned, except for this narration. So they see that odd, but they mention that the reason why he paused in those that mention is due to a reason. But a normal practice would be to just go up, according to the second view. According to the second view. With me? So I mentioned, for example, Ibn Nu'man ibn Ayyash قال أدركت غير واحد من أصحاب رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم وكان إذا رفع رأسه من السجدة الأخيرة أو ركع أو أول ركعة وثالثة قام كما هو ولم يجلس. So even some of those of the Tabi'een, when they narrate upon other companions, and most of the companions when I met, they didn't used to sit for this. They used to go straight up. So when you find some narration that mentions, so we have two views. One that give an allowance for that pause, right? That sitting, and the other doesn't. With me? But we have I'd see as if dalil for both cases. So how we can somewhat use both of them. So Ibn Rajab rahimahullah, Ibn Rajab he can somewhat mention the meaning of which goes in وَهَذَا جَلْسَ تُسَمَّى جَلْسَ الْإِسْتِرَاحَةِ. He said this type of, or this particular sitting is referred to as جَلْسَ الْإِسْتِرَاحَةِ. That's what is referred to as amongst the ulama. Then he mentioned وَأَكْثَرَ حَدِيث لَيْسَ فِيهِ ذِكْرٍ شَيْءٍ مِّن ذَلِكَ. But most of the hadith, majority of the hadith, it doesn't mention this particular sitting. Right? Most hadith does mention this sitting. That is referred to as جلسة الاستراحة. Then he mentioned كذلك قال أحمد بن حنبل وغيره, and also this is what is stated by Ahmad and others. وقد اختلف العلماء في استباحتها في صلاة. So you find a difference in the ulama regarding is it something that is preferred to be done or not. فقال طائفة, then a group of the ulama mentioned is mustahab وأكثرون هي غير مستحب. So some of the ulama mentioned is something which is mustahab to be done, but majority doesn't hold that view. Majority does not share that view. That is something which is mustahab to be done. It's not غير مستحب. But mustahab أن رفع رأسه من السجدة الثانية وينهض. So I said what is mustahab for the person to go straight up. Go straight up. Right? That's the view. Then he mentioned that Ash-Shafi rahimahullah mentioned that here mustahab. So some will mention that it, in cases they order it to be mustahab, they mention that a person somewhat a little bit heavy in weight. With me? So a person a bit more heavy or maybe senior in age, then for them it's preferred for people in that type of condition. With me? So the one who was so a person, for example, who's thin like me, with me, they all have to know it's not for me. Or the likes, you're young, you understand, or you're very well fit, then it is not for you. But for a person who may be a bit more heavy in weight, or a person who is a little bit more ill of a need, so for those people who are older in age, they said it's that Pakistan would do it during that when he was older in age. With me? So that's how they try to explain the reason behind that sitting position. But normally it's not to be done, except for those who have a need for it. According to, so that's how some of the ulama try to explain this away. So ala kulli hal, so you have those two views. You have those two views, and some mentioned overall, if a person does it, Sheikh Islam Ibn Taymiyyah kind of somewhat mentioned something as a guideline concerning just istiraha. فقد ثبت في الصحيح أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم جلسها. They mentioned that just istiraha that has been narrated or authentic from the Prophet Islam that he did do it. ولكن تردد العلماء. But the ulama kind of somewhat undecided. Al-Fada, did he do it out of is that a kibr sin due to older in age, due to a reason, or or did he do it because it is actually a part of the sunnah after the salat? So did he do it based upon that he was more older in age, or was it that he did it based upon it is after sunnah after the salat? Then he mentioned that whichever view a person may have regarding this particular matter, he mentioned that if you do it, la inkar upon the person. So if a person do it, then that's something for you to start to make an inkar, to admonish the person about it, and get into a quarrel with the person about it. And the person don't do it, khalas. If you hold it to be something of the sunnah after salat, then you do what you believe. Based upon how you view the dalil. And if you believe that it's something not to be done, then khalas. Because both have some type of dalil that they're working with. So and it is how you can somewhat or you believe the person, if he's old and seen of a reason he should do it, and the person does no reason he shouldn't do it, whichever view you take, then you just act upon that view. A person does opposite, then it should be a reason for you to criticize the person and get into any form of unnecessary dispute, or to look down upon a person's salat. So that's concerning in a nutshell that particular matter.
Who narrated the second view? The view that the companions, they saw the companions pray.
The narration of the concerning that narration in Ibn Abi Shayba in his Musannif, that's narrated on Nu'man and Nu'man ibn Abi Iyash. Nu'man ibn Abi Iyash. قال أدركت غير واحد من أصحاب رسول الله, that I saw many or a few of the more than one of the companions of the Prophet Islam. فكان إذا رفع رأسه, that when they would bring up their heads من سجدة الأخيرة, from the last sajda, meaning al-awwal raka'a al-thani, meaning from the awwal or the thali, the second or the third, meaning consider sajda, the last sajda in the first or the third raka'ah. Then they mention qam kama huwa wa lam yajlis, that they would just stand as they would without sitting. So it's negating that the companions applied this from the ones that he saw and met as when they would pray. So I said no, our view to say, I said, you have the likes of Umar, Ali, according to what's narrated here, Ibn Mas'ud, that they are not of that view. And those are like, Kibaru Sahaba, Abu Bakr, Umar and Ali, taking a view that not something easily to dismiss and to make inkar. So I said no, whichever view the person take and the person act upon it, without per se going into unnecessary discussion or make inkar upon others who may not share that view.
So Ali and Umar.
I mentioned Ibn Mas'ud or Ibn Abbas, of some of the companions who share that view.
And
It's not to be done, sorry.
And not to be done.
What's the name? Nu'man ibn Abi
Iyash. And Nu'man ibn Abi Iyash. And that narration can be found in a book that is called Musannif or of Ibn Abi Shayba. Ibn Abi Shayba. The author of my book, some of the ulama of contemporary time may have the view concerning regarding this particular matter. They mention here أن جلسة الاستراحة تفعل عند الحاجة إليها, that they all let a person do it if there is a need. It is something that can be done and to be done. Right? Sometime I find, for example, in the Haramain, I think 2 years ago when there was like
Explosion.
like an explosion that concerning that the Yahud, that they came down hard upon and the Palestinians. Remember a couple of years ago, I think it was during Ramadan.
Yeah.
Remember, around Ramadan time. So everyone making Qunoot for them, like embarked, they entered into Palestine, they attacked them inside Palestine, type of thing. So that went on for a little while. Many were killed from the Palestinian children, everyone. So everyone was making Qunoot during that time. So I said, no, but the thing is, when to define, for example, a disaster, a volcano was to erupt and kill many Muslims. Now, if that requires Qunoot,
Definitely.
with me? So I said that, how to define, for example, what is going on in Philistine, something is always, like even now, recent days, that they have blocked people from using Masjid Aqsa. With me? So if that requires Qunoot, there's a drought in a particular country, does that require Qunoot? Right? Starvation here, so you find different things taking place. Now, when it can be said that Qunoot in the Salat is required or can be done. So you have a difference between the ulama as to putting some guidelines, clear guidelines regarding how to define these type of disaster. So they mention generally disaster that are, we said that are from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They say maybe natural disasters. Now, but from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For example, which will come and kind of somewhat passed on. A volcano erupts and kill many people. But that won't come and kind of somewhat pass on. So they said, in those cases, it's like from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there's no need for Qunoot. In some cases, you may have specific dua for those cases. There's a drought. You have a salah for drought. But it's like a natural disaster, a big flooding, tsunami, many people, you may not need a Qunoot because those are from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But one that are from the hands of other human beings to others. Now, an oppression where many people are oppressed and affect many, then those are the ones that may require Qunoot. So for instance, oppression from one group of people, most of them kuffar, upon a Muslim, may require a form of Qunoot. The next matter regarding Qunoot and Nawazil, because there's always something going on. Now, do we require to do Qunoot and Nawazil permission from the head of the state, the Imam head of state? With me? So they have that a part of the discussion. To do Qunoot and Nawazil, are those A'imam of the Masjid required to get permission from the Imam to do this? Or do they not require the Imam permission? So they have a difference in ulama on this matter. Some more inclined towards you have to have permission from the Imam. So you don't find people are doing things and you do what you want and him doing something, so something like seem disorderly, if you want to use that word. With me? So some say now to make some sort of in an orderly fashion, then you need to get the permission from the Imam. And some mention you do not need the permission from the Imam. Do not need permission from the Imam. And some mention a third view. So everyone, the Imam, it will be the Imam of that masjid to make that decision. In this, does this disaster require Qunoot or not? For him to be his own faqih and to make a decision without per se waiting for permission from the head of the state. So like most Islamic countries have the partner who give the ruling will be either they call it concerning the Department for or the Ministry of Islamic Affairs. They are responsible for Islamic matters. So they will, you understand? So they will be the one that will give the permission. Now, for the so you have those who said yes, permission must be given from those above, and those mentioned there is no permission is needed. Then those who mentioned that goes back to know what is the norm, practice in your country or your region. If the Imam doesn't really get involved and doesn't stop people, then you can. But if you say no, then you don't do it.
But one question, if the Imam's leading the people, is he not the one who's going to be doing the Qunoot?
Yeah, but he needs permission. It's not about him being the Imam, does him need permission from the Imam of the state, the head of the state.
Okay.
Not just him just doing what he wants.
Yeah.
You understand? So that's
I don't get how, like, just then what you meant. It sounded as if, like, people are going to be doing it by themselves.
in the sense of Qunoot in Nawazil will be done in a masjid behind the Imam.
Yeah, that's
So the Imam leading Salatul Fajr. And a disaster have occurred somewhere, so he decided to make Qunoot. So the people just go behind him and follow him. But the thing is, for him to just initiate that act and to carry out that act, should he get permission from the head of the state, or it is left for him to make that decision? With me? So because they said there's something that's not, yes, he be doing it, but you have all the people behind him, following him, right? Should it be something that, is it something that is left for him just to make a decision, or something that, because he may do it in his masjid, and the masjid next door is not doing it. You with me? So maybe in a city there's one person doing it, that's one person doing it, and everyone is not doing it. Today you doing it, and next week a next person doing something for a next region. So some mention that you should get the permission of the head of the state, or those responsible for that matter, and not if every imam is left on his own. And some mention that every imam can do it on his own, but him using his discretion, knowing the guidelines and situation that applies to these cases. And some mention that you look to the states and say how they function. Is the case kind of somewhat they give a tacit do what you want, or they kind of somewhat they have outline, or if they say stop if you start doing it. You with me? But it goes back to the rules apply in each country. It's best if yes you have the permission from the Imam. The more confusion if there's no permission from the Imam. What is to be done? Now, what are people to look to? We said, look to those masajid where you find the a'immatul kibar, the kibar ulama, to see what is the precedent set by them. Not just a little imam, unknown imam. Look to the kibar ulama in those countries to see what precedent they set. Then, if there's, then you follow their example. With me? So that's concerning that particular matter regarding al-Qunoot. Al-Nawazil. The next matter concerning al-Qunoot, is it to be done before or after al-Ruku? At what point it is to be done? Before you go into Ruku or after coming back from Ruku? Shaykh Islam Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah with the discussion that he stated, Amma al-Qunoot, as for Qunoot, فَالنَّاسْ فِيهِ تَرَفَانْ وَالْوَسَطِ. The people regarding Qunoot in the Salat, that the people of three groups. Two groups that go to two extreme, and those who follow a middle path. Shaykh Islam Ibn Taymiyyah mentioned the people regarding Qunoot that they fall into those who go to one extreme or another extreme, and those who fall in between this. Minhum, of those ones that go to extreme, man la yara Qunoot illa qabla al-Ruku. Those people who believe that Qunoot is only to be done before Ruku. Those who hold that Qunoot is only to be done after Ruku and no other time. So those are two extreme. Those who hold that Ruku is only to be done, or Qunoot is only restricted before Ruku. That's one extreme. Those who hold that Qunoot is only restricted to after Ruku. Then he mentioned وَأَمَّا الْفُقَهَاء أَهْلِ الْحَدِيثِ. As for the fuqaha of Ahl al-Hadith, Ahmed and others, يُجَوِّزُونَ, that they give permissible, كِلَا أَمْرَيْنِ, that they give to both situation, meaning Qunoot before Ruku and Qunoot after ruku. They give permissibility for both case. I mentioned because of Maji, as-sunnah as-sahiyah bihima. As you have the sunnah for both cases regarding at times it's done before and at times it's done after. And so that's concerning in general, it can be done before and after al-ruku. Some mention regarding concerning that more preferred that it is more preferred to do al-Qunoot ba'da ruku when in situation of nawazil. In time of nawazil, I said in time of catastrophe, for it to be done preferred, for it to be done after ruku, after coming up from ruku. As the Prophet said, more so, but it is allowed to be done after ruku, before ruku still.
Whose opinion was it? Or after? Whose opinion was it that it's preferred to do it after ruku?
In totally, like I can cut us on our aqwal. He did mention, Sheikh did mention regarding those who are made, but he mentioned concerning Ahmed and other Ahadeeth, more regarding that. Both case is permissible, before and after. But I can somewhat more lean towards that they mentioned that regarding concern that they mentioned that, for example, Ahmed, Ishaq, Malik, and Imam Shafi, that they are more inclined towards after ruku, because most hadith state that Qunoot is done after ruku. And those
Sorry, that for Nawazil, when it's disaster.
and Nawazil, disasters.
Yeah, so they put those two together.
So like someone said, it is preferred in Nawazil to be done after ruku, but the person do it before ruku is still okay.
It's 5 past.
Okay, time. So that's concerned that matter. And ruku with that, and that the based upon a hadith of it is something to be done in the last rak'ah of whatever salat. So, for example, it's dhuhr. For example, it is fajr is done in the last rak'ah. If it is any other salat, any salat is done normally in the last rak'ah of each salat. That's the place it to be done. As for it being something constantly done after for Salatul Fajr, then this is a muhdath, as mentioned by Sa'd in the hadith of Abi Malik Al-Ashja'i. So for it to be done as a constant, regular thing, Qunoot in Salatul Fajr every day, then that's a bid'ah. That's an act of bid'ah, as mentioned in the hadith, the last hadith that we read. So that's concerning those matters regarding Al-Qunoot. So we stop there, inshallah ta'ala, and continue. This is the third week of the month, huh?
Yeah.
So a case of need, we said never personal old age or illness, or is a need, then it can be done. So that's concerning that particular matter, that referred to as Jalsa al-Istiraha, is of the sunnah after salat or not, that discussion between the ulama. And that's the resting before one goes from the first rak'ah or the third rak'ah. It consists of 4 rakat. So with that, when we go to the hadith, or the hadith that comes after.
Narrated Anas ibn Malik radiallahu anhu, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam recited Qunoot, supplication in the prayer, for 1 month after rising up from the bowing position, evoking curse on Arab tribes. Afterwards he gave it up, agreed upon.
That did after?
Ahmad and Daraqutni narrated something similar, adding that he sallallahu alayhi wasallam continued to recite Qunoot, supplication prayer in the Fajr prayer till he separated from this world.
The next, call them unrelated on one topic.
And narrated Anas radiallahu anhu, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam never used to supplicate, i.e. Qunoot, in the prayer except when he prayed for people or when he prayed against the people. Ibn Khuzaymah graded it Sahih.
And the one after, Abu Sa'd ibn Tariq.
Narrated Sa'd bin Tariq what's the name?
Asja'i.
Ashja'i radiallahu anhu, I said to my father, you have prayed behind Allah's Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Abu Bakr, Umar, Osman and Ali, did they supplicate in the Fajr prayer, meaning the Qunoot? He replied, O my son, it's an innovation reported by Al-Khamsa except Abu Dawood.
Aywa. Now, so Bismillah, Salawat Rahimullah, Ibn Hajar Rahimullah, then he mentioned these series of hadith, or 3 hadith with various narration, or 3 to 4 hadith, or 4 hadith with various narration regarding the matter regarding Al-Qunoot fi Salat. So this particular matter discussion regarding Qunoot fi Salat. Now, so he mentioned the hadith first of Anas bin Malik with various narration, and the second hadith, the hadith of Sa'd bin Tariq al-Ashja'i. Now, so we'll someone go to each hadith and then we'll discuss the issues relating to each, or to this particular topic. So the first hadith of Anas bin Malik, that's in Bukhari and Muslim, so the hadith is authentic. Then the second hadith that which have some that's related to the first hadith. Now, so you mentioned Al Ahmed, that Dara Qutni, that hadith what discussed concerning that فأما في صبح فلم يزل يقنط حتى فارق الدنيا. So you also have that narration that is mentioned. There's some discussion regarding this particular hadith, regarding that particular matter. So you have like a discussion regarding that particular hadith, or this with this addition. Then I mentioned النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم كان يقنط إلا إذا دعا لقوم أو دعا على قوم صححه ابن خزيمة. Then the next narration regarding Ibn Khuzaymah, that they mentioned, Imam Al mentioned that هذا إسناد صحيح, that isnad is sahih, والحديث نص في أن القنوت مختص بالنوازل. That he mentioned that Ibn Abdul Hadi mentions that the hadith is authentic, this narration, the third one, the Prophet that made qunut upon a particular group of people, that he supplicated against them. He mentioned this narration is authentic, and this hadith is a clear text. أن القنوت مختص بالنوازل, as to be discussed, that is specific to a particular type of situation, circumstance. As for the fourth hadith of Sa'd bin Tariq, narrated by Ahmed, wa At-Tirmidhi, wa Ibn Majah, that Ibn Hajar Rahimullah authenticated this hadith. Ibn Hajar authenticated this particular hadith. So those comes to a general discussion regarding those hadith. Then we're going to start to extract now the ahkam from those hadith. So the hadith, they have a basis. So of those matters, a general thing regarding Qunoot, that you have one, what is Qunoot? So the hadith is to discuss matters relating to Al-Qunoot fi Salat. Qunoot fi Salat. Now, Qunoot, and with ulama, they describe concerning Al-Qunoot, a dua. So Qunoot is a dua. So the word Qunoot itself linguistically have many meaning. Qunoot linguistically carry many meaning. It could mean Qunoot, could mean a dua. Qunoot could mean qiyam, standing. It could mean qiyam at-tawil. Qunoot also could mean khushu. Qunoot also can mean sukut, silence. It could also mean salat. So that's all those meaning. Could mean dua, salat, khushu, qiyam, qiyam at-tawil, a length long qiyam, nam. Also mentioned could mean also sukut. So it carry all those different meaning. So one word carrying all those meanings linguistically. Nam. But in this context, that Qunoot in salat is concerning that ya dua fi salat fi mawzi fi mahal al-makhsus inda al-qiyam. So what I mean by Qunoot is a supplication in the salat in a specific place while standing. And it says specifically because it could be before ruku or after ruku. With me? So that's concerning Qunoot. So it's a dua while in salat in a standing position, could be before or after ruku. That's Qunoot. And as we know, Qunoot is tasawwur, that in the discussion, I have many books on this topic, just on this topic alone. So concerning Qunoot. So Qunoot normally is attached to one. Qunoot al-Witr. Qunoot, that's attached to Salatul Witr. That's the last salat is prayed in the night with the odd number. and that to be discussed later in some of the narration. Then you have Qunoot and Nawazil or Nazila. Qunoot, when for example a Muslim is before with a catastrophe, a disaster, a serious situation, they call those Qunoot and Nawazil. So sometimes, for example, you might see in certain masajid, for example, last year there was some disaster, something occurred, and the Muslim was supplication in the Salat. And that's Qunoot. And also Qunoot, also some may put as a separate topic that concerning Sulut fi Salatul Subh, that is a part of this discussion, and a Salatul Farida, the compulsory Salat. Can Qunoot in the compulsory Salawat, and more so in Al-Fajr, and Fajr Mustamirran. For example, in certain places that you will go, is a view that is taken by some, that they'll make Qunoot in every Salatul Fajr. With me? So every Salatul Fajr, in the last Raka'a, they'll make a Qunoot. Whether it is disaster or no disaster, whether everything is regardless. So those are the area the matter concerning Qunoot are discussed. Type. So we're going to discuss some of those when I may add certain things as we go along. So also Qunoot become more apparent, especially concerning in time of when? Ramadan. Because Qunoot also is done. So when we discuss concern what that, we're going to discuss that. So we discuss some of those things in brief. So the general idea, so we just end with Ramadan. So can some of a general idea regarding matter relating to Al-Qunoot. So we can some mention what is mentioned here, then may add certain things. May add some matters regarding Al-Qunoot. Just have an idea of what the topic involves. So I mentioned regarding the hadith, or this Ahadeeth that I mentioned regarding Qunoot. We mentioned the meaning of Qunoot. Some narration mentioned Ba'd al-Ruku'. So we'll have one discussion regarding, so after think of the hadith. So after the word that is in the hadith, and the last hadith of Sa'd, we mentioned, قُلْتُ لِأَبِي, where the person said, is mentioned to my father, يَا أَبَتِي إِنَّكَ قَدْ صَلَّيْتَ خلف رسول الله السلام وأبي بكر وعمر وعثمان وعلي, that you have prayed behind Abu Bakr, you prayed behind the Prophet Islam, the Messenger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, Ali. And it shows that whenever we find those ones are always mentioned aloud with the Prophet Islam regarding certainty, because they are example for us. They become examples for us. And the other Khulafa Rashid, what they do is sometimes are included as a part of the Sunnah. أفكانوا they then ask أفكانوا did they يقنطون في الفجر, would they perform قنوت in صلاة الفجر? قال يا بني أي بني محدث, that is actually something to محدث. What I say محدث is there in English? Innovated. So محدث, a meaning is concerning something which is جديد, which is جديد. And it could be a matter that is jadid, that relates to the deen, or matter related to ad-dunya. Muhdath regarding the dunya, then that is no harm. There's something you find that is always with advancement and development, things are always changing regarding muhdath, regarding ad-dunya. So things will all be advancing and developing, so that's not a problem regarding. So a person might say, no, muhdath in Islam, and they said, okay, you people all talk about bidah, and things are muhdath, new and invented. The Prophet used to ride donkey and used to walk. You're driving cars and plane. He wants the sunnah that you should go back to donkey and whatever. We said that is way out of context. You understand? Those type of example, those connection doesn't match up. Those might concern the dunya, and those things are allowed. And whatever is established in your time, that's what you use. You understand? So if we're driving car, person, I'm going to follow the sunnah, I'm going to take out, I'm going to get me a donkey and ride around the donkey. That's not the sunnah. You're just being backwards.
People send me messages sometimes about them. Why don't you go on donkeys rather than cars?
Yeah. So
confuse the meaning of
yeah. So they're confused concerning that because of a misconception regarding al-bidah or muhdath. If it's regarding what's concerning the dunya, then there used to be donkeys and camel that people ride as normal mode of transport. That's then. They use what was available then. We use what is in your time. So today we are driving cars. Next 50 years, they may be driving cars that is flying all over, not even on the road. You understand? They're like spaceships. You understand? Off-road car. You understand? So you use what's available in your time regarding technology and the likes, as those things would advance and develop. So trying to criticize, I use that justification regarding why you're not doing that, riding donkey in 20th century today. Yes, we're not going to ride donkey. I would say a person doing that in the sunnah would have said, no, that's not the sunnah. You understand? You say a person that I'm on the sunnah, I have a big beard and a bit no, so I'm getting me a donkey, I ride around because I probably need to ride donkey. I said, Akhi, that's a misunderstanding from your part. Misinterpretation of a religion. That's not the sunnah. Then yes, or allowed then. Today you have cars, you're just being backwards.
It's a bit in worldly life.
You understand? So bid'ah in world life, you move according to your time. With me? Yeah. So you move according to your time. Muhdath wal bid'ah, for us, is a problem, is haram regarding matters concerning a deen. As those things become set. You understand? So you want to add to the deen? Then no. You want to change things? Then no. Those things are defined as they are from then and still remain as it is today until Yawm al-Qiyamah. Because those things are set tawqifiyya. So bid'ah, that is haram, is regarding matters related to the deen. Type. So muhdath in this context is regarding matters concerning a deen. Regarding that, and is concerning inkar, that is concerned where people were praying, intend to pray Qunoot in every Salatul Fajr. So that's muhdath, that is something which is muhdath, contrary to the Prophet did and what announced to the Sahaba what they were upon. Which is equivalent to al-bidah. Just as a side track matter, but I look a benefit that one of the Mashaykh from Mecca, that he was asked regarding matter concerning that a matter, but the answer he gave is that something to reflect upon. So it's asked about some matters regarding that, if a person is criticized, type of thing. So he said, the general thing regarding that matter, regarding that, especially in our contemporary time, in our time, amongst us. Now I'm saying a word that is used, but sometimes maybe not understood correctly, and put in its proper context. Like a word concerning bid'ah. Wal anta min mubtada'. Right? So you have bid'ah, wal mubtada', wal jar, wal at-tahdhir. So you have those four words. Bid'ah. The second word we'll say is mubtada'. The third is what? Jarh. And the fourth, tahdhir. So the first bid'ah, we know bid'ah. So bid'ah, he said, that's a clarification concern. Al-bid'ah, either could be something of qawl or fi'l. So for example, that means that a person may do an act which is a bid'ah, but you don't say it's a mubtadi'. So not everyone who does an act of bid'ah is referred to as a mubtadi'. Clear? So you don't say so not everyone who falls into a bid'ah, he doesn't automatically is referred to from, is called a mubtadi'. So bid'ah is looked upon either by qawl or by fi'l, by act or a thing that is being done. Ruling passed upon an act or a statement that is being said. Mubtada' is the person who the ruling is passed upon after you have gone through certain criteria and guidelines. So the person now referred to as a mubtada' until certain conditions are in place and guidelines are followed. Clear? And
you got the act.
So you have the act, or it could be something, a statement the person maybe it couldn't be, you understand? But not everyone who fall in doing an act of bid'ah is said to be a mubtada'. But every mubtada' has fallen into a bid'ah. Every mubtada', a person said to be a mubtada', that means he has fallen into an act of bid'ah in one way or another. Type. Jar. Could be for reasons. A person said to be of jar in the ulama of hadith, either due to that the person adala, meaning a person credibility.
Jarring what again?
A jar, like a form of criticism.
Yeah.
Something that disparaging is saying about a person. Now, so it could be due to jar, could be due to criticism based upon a person, adala. He falls into something that impact upon his adala, his credibility. Or jar could be by the person his ability to remain information. He's not very precise regarding information that he receive and pass on. Yes, well, if so, a form of jar. So and a person could have a jar upon him for in those two areas is adala, is credibility, or is memory. He has poor memory. So it could be for those two reasons together, or could be one of them. With me? So it could be, for example, a person's memory is very good, but his adala is poor. In his adala, yes, deficiency in his adala, in his credibility, but his memory is very strong. With me? And it could be vice versa. The person, memory is poor, but his credibility is intact. Clear? So jar could go different ways. So not every person who may be a jar upon him, mean the person is totally dismissed and should be warned against. It doesn't mean this. So it'll be depending on the level of jar, that will now be depending on how the person is treated. A person may have some criticism, but he's still looked upon as upright, a person of the sunnah. Clear? So not every jar, criticism in a person is outside the sunnah. With me? So not every criticism in a person automatically, because I said the person has full memory means that you're out of the sunnah. Doesn't mean that. Clear what I'm saying? So that every jar mean a person is dismissed in totality. In some cases it could mean so, and in some cases not so. But that's after confirmation and verification of that jar. That's a legitimate jar. For example, the ulama past, they used to be mutashaddid of hadith. A famous statement, I would have some discuss, a famous statement that is mentioned by some of the ulama, but have some questions about authenticity. That's not ulama. For example, if a person, for example, as an example, a person used to ride a horse through the city, but used to gallop the horse through the city. He ought to, as a person, that's no bad manners and bad conduct, and something to criticize the person for, because you're galloping the horse through the city, like riding, speeding through the city. You ought to be something that is not of good conduct and behavior. So he used to attack people for this. Or a person then, years ago, you understand? Maybe different now. You understand, as things change. If you were to walk around as a talib al-ilm and your head is uncovered, no one accepts you and respect you for that. You with me? So the talib al-ilm, you walk with your ear bare like this. No, you know, your credibility is attacked, could be attacked for this. Because then the standards are different. With me? Just as, for example, in a jar of past, if you were to walk into the street and like in public and eat, no one accepts this from you. Because then, you understand? So things then and now have changed. You understand? But the thing is, verifying, is that jar something which is a credible jar? Because some people may differ in this. It may differ from place to place and from time to time and individual to individual. With me? So sometimes those things of jar, not everything is taken, but it needs to be looked into to see if it's a valid criticism regarding a jar. Then the third is, to mention the fourth is tahdhir. When should we warn against a person? So does every person who falls in an error needs to be warned against? Then that's also the next thing. So being able can distinguish, so a person might have an error and he's not deserving to be warned against. And we can warn against a person legitimately because of the errors that he carries. You can mention him by name. So tahdhir is like warning against a person. And in some cases, it may be wajib, the thing to be done that you warn against the person and the thing that he's involved in concerning bid'ah and the likes. So him and his crazy ideas and practice or innovation. Or it could be warning against, caution against the act and not the person. You may caution against an act but not the person. So all those cases are weighed out based upon certain guidelines. So in this case, he actually asked about the son, and the son that her father said to him, Ey bunay, muhdeth, just as a muhdeth. Without going to a long discussion. The person, this, and who is that, just given a brief answer. So sometimes that alim knowing which answer to give, when to be brief and when to be detailed, when to mention names and when not to mention names. Type. So that's that matter. So back to our matter regarding the fiqh al-hadith. So this hadith is a proof, or these ahadith are proofs that are used by some of the ulama regarding an evidence to prove that Qunoot is permitted in the Salah. That a permissibility regarding al-Qunoot, supplication while in the Salat, is something which is permitted in particular salawat. Most agree, or most of the view that it is something which is permissible regarding Qunoot fi witr. Nam, but then other than this they disagree. Nam, concerning al-nawazil, concerning cases of nawazil. So in this particular hadith they mentioned that Abu Hanifa, concerning al-Thawri wa Abu Hanifa, that there's no Qunoot except for witr. There's no Qunoot except for Salatul Witr. So al-Thawri wa Abu Hanifa rahimahullah, أنه لا يقنط إلا في غير الوتر, that a person should not perform al-Qunoot except for Salatul Witr. Imam Malik and Imam Shafi rahimahullah ذهب مالك وشافعي إلى أن القنوت سنة في صلاة الفجر في جميع الزمان. There are all concerned that Imam Shafi or Imam Malik that with Qunoot is allowed in Fajr throughout, at all time. Based upon some of the hadith mentioned.
Whose opinion was that?
Malik wa Shafi.
That it should be
constantly in Fajr. All the time in Fajr. At all times. Then Imam Ahmed rahimahullah, that Qunoot is permitted in witr and also outside al-witr. And in the case of Amin, considered outside witr, if the Muslim have been fall with a calamity, they call it nazila. And I mentioned the Prophet hadith of Anas bin Malik as a book concerning the Prophet that he made a Qunoot for 1 month after Ba'da Ruku upon certain Arab tribes. And those tribes that he made Qunoot against were the people who killed the Qurra. So he can somewhat send them Qurra, and they were killed by those people. So the Prophet said that he supplicated against them for a month because of them murdering some people that he sent as dignitaries, or some Qurras they refer to as. So that in Islam, that he supplicated in a form of witr, as a form of Qunoot, against those people from those particular tribes that were mentioned that killed some of the companions who were sent on a particular mission or task.
What salah was that performed in? Was that
He didn't mention specify which salat. They mentioned they allow, so that's the next matter regarding which salat it is allowed. So we have witr, which will be discussed later. So we're discussing more now by concerning that outside Salatul Witr. Of the ulama who owe that, it is more so for to be done in the compulsory salat except for Jummah. But there's still a difference regarding Jummah. Some give allowance for Jummah, majority say no. But regarding the 5 compulsory salat, then you have that some mentioned it can be done in all compulsory salawat. It can be done in all compulsory salat, whether those salat are done silently or aloud. That's a view of some of the ulama. Another view, and they all to this consider hadith of Ibn Abbas, that he mentioned in the hadith of Ibn Abbas, that قنت رسول الله الإسلام شهرا متتابعا في الظهر عصر مغرب عشاء وصلاة الصبح في دبر كل صلاة. So the hadith here mentioned that the Prophet Islam of Ibn Abbas,
What's Salah al-Subh?
Fajr.
Oh, yes.
So this hadith of Ibn Abbas, it can somewhat clarify or can somewhat indicate that here is that he made for 1 month Qunoot in Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib, Isha and Salatul Fajr, which is As-Subh. Can someone improve the point of those who mentioned can be done in all the salawat. And this hadith is in Abu Dawood, Ahmed, and there's some discussion regarding the hadith, but the hadith have a basis in Bukhari and Muslim. The hadith have a basis in Sahihain. So it have a basis in Bukhari and Muslim. But this is not, have some weakness in some of the narrators. Or some people criticize him and some people hold him to be okay, while others say different. So some discussion regarding some of the narrators. But is the proof regarding some of all that? It is allowed to do Qunoot in any of the compulsory salat. Whether it is Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib, Isha and Subh.
That's narrated by Ibn Abbas.
And that's based upon the narration of Ibn Abbas. And that view seems to be stronger. That view seems to be the stronger view, that is allowed in all the different salawat. And that is the Qunoot, is called Qunoot al-Nawazil. Qunoot al-Nawazil. So the Prophet did it due to certain things that occurred, where some of the companions were murdered or killed. So he supplicated against a particular group of people. Some of the ulama are restricted to only the ones that are said aloud. Qunoot in a compulsory salat is restricted only to the salawat that are said aloud. Fajr, Maghrib and Isha. And some doesn't own it to be done. But the first view, that it is allowed in all the salawat, that seems to be a stronger view.
And that's Ibn Abbas.
And the narration of Ibn Abbas. And of those like Ahmed, or it can be done in all the compulsory salat. Of a view that Ahmed can be done in all the compulsory salawat. So that's concerning that particular matter. The next matter regarding al-Qunoot. So I said now you have Qunoot of 2 types mainly. Qunoot al-Witr, or Qunoot al-Nazila, or Nawazil. When a Muslim is before with a catastrophe. The thing that they are the discussion now regarding, what's the Nawazil, a catastrophe before a Muslim, a serious matter, what to define what's the serious matter that requires Qunoot.